This is a throwback in some ways. We got the potato camera, potato audio, potato internet connect, potato background. We got the 4 emperors of potatoes. This is basically streaming on a Game Boy camera. Yeah, let's give it a bit. We'll get the toaster camera comments out of the way. We'll get all let's all get that shit out of the way. Yeah, this is an old school Mord stream. Sneaky Mongoose says, "Hey George, Awakening Ideas teaches Yami Awakening, makes it so that he can nullify Luffy's Gomu abilities without touching him. That's a great idea. That's actually very, very likely what it could be. And Buggy's Awakening, despite not being strong, will allow him to split the sky." That is hilarious. That would be hilarious. I love those ideas. Sneaky Mongoose, I think the Buggy idea is inspired. The Blackbeard idea is a good idea too, but I think the Buggy idea is amazing. Ivan back from the car trip says, Odin being born to boil. How is that? How have I not mentioned that yet? Odin boiling. Great scene. So if I'm doing my rankings for my favorite stuff, things that I consider classic moments to me, I think Gear 5th. I think that's a classic. I think Odin boiling, that's a classic. He laughed, I think that's a classic. Things that are close are things like Yasuo's death. I think Luffy in the prison mine. I think those are things that I consider close, but I think that these 3 are 3 of the greatest moments post-time skip. I mean, in One Piece in general, but I would say that, like, especially if I'm doing a post-time skip ranking, I'd be like, I think Gear 5th is something really stand out. I think He Laughed is something really stand out. I think the Odin boiling, just the panel of Odin boiling, I think it's really, really, just visually really, really memorable. Ippo Takamura says, Kinemon flexing his strategic muscles and purposely revealing wrong port is a top moment. It's a funny moment. I'm not throwing it on this list, though. Apollina Tophead says, you seen the theory that Uta is 10th captain in the Blackbeard Pirates? I fucking hope Uta does not make a canon appearance in the story. That's all I'll say. Apollina Tophead says, hey Morge, there's a rumor going around that you're a huge Uta stan and supporter, and that you really want her to join the crew. Is this true? These rumors are in fact correct. I love Uta. I think that the fact that we're all being told to just accept that she exists and was around when Luffy met Shanks, I love that that's happening. I think that there's nothing better than being told that the past that you once believed in and had nostalgia for was a lie, and that there's a completely different version of history that you're now supposed to buy into so that a company can make profit off of a movie that they made that's pure fan fiction. I will say this, I am actually interested in Film Red now because, look, I'm only human, right? 1 week or 2 weeks ago, I was making fun of Film Red and stuff. Now, like, little clips and stuff are coming out from Film Red. There's certain little fights and interactions that happen in those clips that, you know, even me, who calls all the One Piece movies fan fiction, I'm like, shit, that'd look cool to see in theaters. What if I watch Film Red and I really like Uta? What if, like, Uta's, like, got a backstory like Robin or some shit? What if I come out of Film Red being like, fuck, what if Uta's my favorite character now? Huh? Then I'll look back at my past self and be like, man, you didn't know what you're talking about. Sheriff Lafitte says, which was worse, Isoni or the Yamato bomb stuff? Dude, the Isoni stuff, when I reread that section, I was just like, this is wild. Because the reason being, it took several chapters for that shit to play out. Which was insane to me. Because there's so many more interesting characters, like, so many more interesting character storylines, or so many more, like, stuff that could have happened instead of the Isoni stuff. Like, maybe something for Brook. Maybe something more for Nami. Like, something more build-up around that scene that led to her at making that proclamation around Luffy, right? Maybe something more for, like, maybe Frankie versus Sasaki could have been, like, actually a fleshed-out fight or something. Like, there's so much, like, it's actually wild because it feels, when you're reading throughout All Fact 3, especially the battle stuff, right? Like, you can feel how Oda's, like, crunching stuff for time. But then you get this Isoni section randomly that Oda was just like, fuck it. This one can span 10 chapters. And it's just like, dude, this was the one thing you were like happy to give, you know, 10 chapters worth of space to. Like, everything else feels like really, really scrunched, and you can feel like him, like, shaving off edges and stuff and being like, okay, this little bit can be off screen, etc., but not the Isonis. He was like, this moment for Chopper, where he sets everybody on fire and is like, I solved it. Fire fixes ice. I think, like, it does almost nothing for Chopper as a character other than him, like, just doing his normal doctor thing, which he's done. We've seen him do that in Zoe, and it's not. He doesn't really do anything new other than it puts more of a spotlight on him doing it, I guess. But it doesn't really progress his character in any way. Z-Lit says, would you rather have had a character moment for Brook or Usopp and Wano, and why? And to this day, I still would have rather the raid field. Me too, man. I would have rather the raid field as well. I would have rather had a moment for Usopp. Reason being, Brook is he doesn't get much, obviously, but Usopp was bitching the entire arc. The entire arc about how he doesn't want to die, how he's really scared, how he's just trying to escape, how he's trying to protect. Usopp really, made himself look really, really bad over the course of the arc. So I think Usopp was more so, he kind of needed something more than Brook, whereas Brook was kind of just a non-factor. He may as well, if Brook didn't exist in Wano, nothing changes about the arc. Same thing for Usopp, but Usopp was a net negative for himself, character-wise. Whereas Brook, he was a net neutral, right? Still would have liked both of them to have had something, but I think Usopp needed something, whereas Brook, it was just kind of unfortunate he didn't get anything, in my opinion. Fortnite Pro 123 says top 5 hottest male characters. It would be Akainu, Ace, Sabo, Oven, and there was a filler character named Don Achino. I think that's objectively, factually just true, what I just said. Fuck, who does my favorite character now?